Welcome back, Holotable Heroes, to another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your bald-headed boy Scribble. Today we are looking back at the Naboo raid. That's right, we have got another Relic 9 tier capable team that only requires 3 relics, and it is fantastically easy. I think the only team that's easier to beat at the Relic 9 tier than this is probably just full R9 Gungans with the Omicron on Boomadeer, I want to say. Let's check it out. Everybody knows this team by now. One of my most popular videos on the Naboo raid is actually the Darth Maul, Darth Sidious trio team with one separatist ally. Now, usually that person is going to be the Nute Gunray, potentially even Snap, but the beauty of this team is it actually works with basically any third. Obviously, your better choices are going to be someone like Nute Gunray. Alternatively, you can use someone like Snap. You can even use someone like Droideka. Now, there are unfortunately no good choices for this, because all of these guys are just, they're not characters you want to take to Relic 9, but that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to show you that if you are in a squeeze and you're really looking to get the highest amount of score possible out of your team with the lowest level of R9 investments possible, this is going to be one of your cheapest teams. Now, I do recommend using something like Stat, because overall it's probably the most useful character to have at Relic 9, but ultimately this is not something I recommend necessarily unless you are really, really pushing for that max score. The reason why this team works particularly well, and you saw there, mine are only Relic 7, I used a friend's account for this, is that at the Relic 9 tier, we're actually gaining an additional benefit here, which is that all Separatists and Sith allies are going to gain 100% critical chance. That means that all of the crit avoidance that the enemy is getting throughout the match isn't going to matter so much. We are going to still crit them even when we don't have advantage if you still mod your Maul and your Sidious for crit chance. Why is that important? Well, if you haven't watched my other video guides on this, you'll know that, you won't know, but I'm going to tell you now, is that Sidious's leadership is actually active provided there is any Separatist allies in your team. It does not work if you have no Separatist allies in your team, okay? So when Sidious is there with at least one other Separatist ally in the team, his leadership is also going to activate in conjunction with Darth Maul's. Now, Darth Maul's is nice, it gives you a good element of survivability and a little bit of extra TM, but Darth Sidious's leadership over here is going to provide us extra crit chance, and more importantly, we are going to be ramping up offense whenever we score a critical hit on the enemy. So obviously all that extra crit chance that we're getting, the advantage we're getting from Maul's leadership means slowly ramping up the offense. Let's take a quick look right now and look at the modding that we use for this team. Starting off with Darth Maul, then you can see the speed over there was about 255. We've got 11,347% on the physical damage, and we've got 134.33% crit chance. Now don't forget, Maul is going to gain additional crit chance through his mastery, so as you take him up to higher and higher relic levels, it becomes easier to hit that crit damage, that standard damage and that crit chance threshold, okay? So all that really matters about him: speed, offense, and crit chance. Similarly to Sidious, we are going to be running 309 speed in this instance. We've got ourselves 70% potency because we want to land those debuffs, 10,100 offense, and a bit of crit chance where we can. Finally, Stap, we've got 360 speed, 11,400 offense, and 106% crit chance. Now, honestly, I wouldn't say you need to go super hard on this. It's just nice to have good mods to try and get that sort of reliability, that dependability for the team. Ultimately, I find the third almost doesn't matter, kind of matters in the early phases, helps you get through waves quicker, helps you get rid of Droidekas just that little bit quicker, but if you want to try and remove as much RNG out of this run as possible, go ahead and put some good mods on these characters, even if it's just for that run. Breaking down into the run then, Wave 1, all we want to really do is try to destroy the enemy as quickly as possible. Now, you want to save your AoEs first and foremost, let the enemy get their turns out of the way at the start. After that, we can start spamming our AoEs. So I like to go in with the Maul AoE straight away, it practically kills everybody else. We get additional AoEs coming off here. You could save the Stap one potentially, because you're still going to actually defeat these guys. After that, you're always going to have the same modifier on the second wave. It's always going to be charge, and you want to use Stap's second special, calling in Maul, to take out that Droideka immediately. If you kill him in that first hit, it's all great, you can just keep on moving on. After this, all we're looking to do really is try to clear through the enemy waves as quickly as possible. Enraged timer is still a thing here, it's just a little bit easier to manage. Now, because we're at higher tiers, of course, we are going to have a revive for our stat, and it is going to be that little bit easier for us as far as damage output is concerned. We've got that provoke up there that gives us a little bit of extra chance. Over here, whenever we've got the chance with an AoE and advantage, you do want to try and land those crits with Maul, ramp up that damage nice and quickly. When it gets to the very first wave in which we can go out into space to call in one of the fleet abilities, we are going to immediately use the first in the line, okay? It's the one that gives you massively overpowered. This one here with the, Naboo N1 starships. This is the one you always want to use on wave 1. Just use a couple of basics here to clear out the enemy teams, and once you've gone through all of those massively overpowered, you should have normal turns again. Maul will gain 100% turn meter when he kills an enemy on his turn with a basic. Try to take advantage of that. AoEs when possible, especially if you have that advantage, guys. It's going to give you lots of crits, which, as you know, that's going to raise our offense by 2% each and every time we get that crit. You can see how it is a lot easier to land those crits. Now, we can't do much about them having charged the charge modifier on this wave. It's always going to happen from time to time, so just try to take it in stride. If it happens in the early waves, it's not as bad as if it happens in the later waves. Okay, so we're going through to the Droideka. Fortunately, we do not have the charge modifier here. Once again, save stat second special to target a Droideka, calling in Maul to deal extra damage. Hopefully you can take them out before they go into the damage immunity, but it's not always going to be possible. You see here we lose stat. It's only wave 4, I want to say, but it doesn't really matter. Focus down the enemies one at a time, try and get that big AoE coming off from Maul, lots and lots of crits, try and ramp that damage nice and quickly in the early phases to make it a little bit easier for us to clear out the enemies quicker in the later stages. Now, unfortunately, we do get stuck behind a damage immune Droideka here temporarily, but we do get out of it very, very quickly. If you end up wasting too many turns early on a damage immune Droideka, it can be a pain. Second wave, we are looking to see what the enemy modifier is. If it's this triple chevron, that is the charge ability, which means the enemy's going to take a bonus turn after every one of our turns. If you get this in the second fleet wave, where we get to go out into space and use a special ability, you want to use the Disrupt Communications special ability, which is the one that looks like it's got a big radar dish on the icon down below. You see we use it here. Go ahead, blow up that, and that's going to remove the commander's special ability. Then you just want to try to get round to basics with Maul. When Sidious gets his attacks, only focus those attacks on enemies that have got the highest health pool. Maul, you want to use basics targeting enemies that you are guaranteed to kill. He's going to take that, gain 100% turn meter, and it's going to just keep on letting us go through this, recycling our cooldowns, decreasing the turn meter, or rather, increasing the gains of turn meter on Sidious. Alright, so next wave we've got double Droideka. We want to be spamming those AoEs, getting as many crits as possible. You can see the great damage that we're doing already. AoE, boom. Look at that. We managed to get rid of almost the entire team there, thanks to the fact that we've got that extra crit chance rolling. It's exactly what you want to have happen, alright? So, continue along the way, try to land some basics with Maul to hopefully kill. Still getting those crits there, even though we didn't have advantage. This is why it's important to mod for crit chance, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be the final wave. We've got charge again, unfortunately. We can't get rid of it, so we're going to have to be at the mercy of whatever modifier the enemy has. So this one's going to get rid of any provoke that we've got. It's also going to give us some turn meter. Spam those AoEs. Try to kill these waves as quickly as possible, especially if they've got that charge modifier, because you don't want them taking all those bonus turns. And there you can see how easy was that. 82% in rage going into this, and it's so easy. Those basics from Maul hitting for 200k already, thanks to all the additional offense that we've ramped, thanks to the modifier, and just a big AoE there just absolutely destroys it. I did this back to back twice, no restarts on the same team. It was the smoothest sailing I've ever had on a Naboo raid team for Relic 9 or Relic 7 or Relic 8. Literally, the only thing that comes close to that, guys, is definitely going to be when we use Gungans. Gungans are basically a full auto for me. Using my Relic 8 Gungans with the Omicron, this team is just as easy. Only at the Relic 9 tier is it this easy, in my opinion. But I will say, word of caution, guys, I don't actually recommend anybody invest into this unless you are just bleeding away all of your materials, because you do not care how much money that you throw into this, how many relic materials you throw into it. It's not a good investment, in my opinion, guys. But like I said at the start, if you need to find a team that is you know, going to push you to the top end of the scoreboard, going to help you get to that top tier of maybe the personal reward track, but you don't want to do boatloads of Relic 9s. Sidious, Maul, and one Separatist ally, probably Snap is your best choice, is such an easy time of it, okay? Easy time of it. Alright guys, let me know in the comments section down below which teams are you using for the Naboo raid, and what are you looking forward to next in Galaxy of Heroes? How's your Bale and Skull farming coming on, and how is your farming for GL Ahsoka Tano? I'll see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.